Pulmonary embolism. If you or someone you know has had one or is going through it, this video is for you. In 2017, I collapsed to a bilateral pulmonary embolism. I ended up in the in-between, going to the other side, and came back. And I've been telling this story off and on, and I'm going to start telling it a lot more because a lot of people are ending up in my DMs and my inbox saying that they have felt like they're all alone out there and that there's no one telling their story. So for you all, I'm going to continue to tell this story, but I want to address the main thing that I hear the most is that I don't know how to go on living after I've been through this. I am constantly living in fear. And what I want to tell you is that it is not an easy road. It took me about 2 years to finally get through a mass depression that happened after that near-death experience. And I don't think people talk about that enough, but you are not alone. And it's very, very common to go through what I call survivor's burden. And for me, it was twofold. One, it was the fear of it coming back, the fear of it happening again. People don't realize this is the top three ailments that take people out in the US. And where I was given 24 hours to live and less than a 2% chance of survival. My being here is a complete miracle. I shouldn't be here. In fact, I get calls from the American Lung Association and Heart Association that want to interview me to try and figure out how it is scientifically that I didn't succumb to what had happened, and they cannot. So I can tell you what happened because I was in the middle of all of the spiritual things and things that are not explainable by science. But the fact is that if you are here and you live through it, or someone you know has lived through it, there's a reason for that. And I know some people will be all about the reason or not, but it's true. And I can tell you that because I did go to the other side and I did see the in-between and I was in the in-between, and I can assure you that you come back for a reason. The survivor's burden is really, it's surviving something like that. Number one, there's no playbook, right? And if you're out there trying to figure this out by yourself, it's like, what do I do next? Why am I here? Why was I given a second chance? What if it comes back? What's going to happen to my family? What am I going to leave my family? Like, the concerns are legit, like completely legit. And the fact is, this is where you have to make a choice. Are you going to be a victim and succumb to this and let it rule you and take you out? Or are you going to take a warrior mentality and say, F this, I'm going to find a way? Because eventually that is what I had to do. And that was the only thing that kept me from actually ending my life, which I thought about multiple times after this had happened. It's going to come down to your mindset, and it's going to come down to how you take care of yourself mentally and physically, okay? And I need you to understand that your mindset, where your thoughts go, your energy flows. So the more you think negatively or you freak out about things, the more it's gonna encourage that to happen. However, if you go to Google, for example, now I know that you've been rabbit holing and you're looking at all of the statistics of the chances of survival being dismal, and all these other things. What I want you to do is start rerouting and rewiring what you're searching. So instead of searching like how many people survive, how many people don't survive, start searching for things like how I survived and started living after a pulmonary embolism or embolism of any kind. Look up things like how to change your mindset from a victim to a survivor. You need to go to survivor mode right now. You can't stay in victim mentality or you're going to be in that dark ass hole that you can't even see the light through. Okay, I know where you are because I was at the deepest, darkest part of that hole for way too long. And I wish I had had somebody to tell me directly like I am telling you. You have to get your ass up and you have to choose to think differently because no one's going to do that shit for you. Is there a chance of it repeating? Of course there is. But there are things that you can do to be smart about it, right? So for example, I'm not going to not get on a plane. I'm not going to stop living any part of my life out of fear that it's going to happen again. I had to come to that realization that it is not living if you are worried about it. Like, you just can't, but do precautionary things. So do your exercises for your lungs, for example. There's something called box breathing. It's 4 counts in through your nose, slow breathing in, like expand your chest and your diaphragm, hold it for 4, blow it out through your mouth for 4, and then hold for 4. That's called box breathing. So in 4, hold, out 4, hold, and then you keep doing that. And you do that as much as you can to the point where your lungs don't hurt, right? You might feel a little tension and a little pressure. And of course, make sure, your doctor says, okay, right? I'm just telling you what I did. But that's going to help. The scar tissue takes a long time to heal, right? And whether or not you're on blood thinners, that's also going to contribute to what you can and cannot do. So please, you know, I'm just telling you what I did. Please, please do your due diligence and get your A-OK from your doctor, whoever you need to, all right? But that's something that you need to do. You start thinking about what you're consuming. You need to be careful about what you're putting into your mind and your mouth, okay? Because if you're consuming a bunch of negative shit, that's all you're going to feel, and it's going to make it worse. But if you start looking and searching for real life survival, like I made it stories, or how people got past the difficult parts, you're going to start reading those stories, and that's what your mind's going to start remembering. And so you're rewiring and switching the flipping the switch on your mentality, right? So you're changing your energy, which is going to change your body and your healing process. What you consume in your mouth is so important. You have to like be conscious now. Okay. Now that's not, I mean, I drink, right? I do things, and I just got to the point again where I was like, I want to live. Like, I'm not going to put rules on myself. And I'm not saying that's for everybody, but I'm saying that's what I did. And I did some dumb shit too. Like, I did some really dumb shit that I shouldn't have been doing. But I was in a mass depression. I was, you know, not mentally in a good place. And so I unfortunately am all about failing forward in my life. And if I can prevent that for you in this video, you're welcome. If you got this far, I do want to show you something, because I found this recently. I decided to start selling it on TikTok. But this is home remedies. So this stuff is at your fingertips, right? And I want to show you this one, Mighty Lungs tincture right here. This is full of natural remedies and recipes. I don't care if you buy it or not. I just want you to know it exists, because this is stuff that you can do at home, and you don't have to go pay big pharma and pay all the money for dumb shit that may or may not work, that they just want. Okay, so Mighty Lungs. This is an entire section on respiratory. And then there's an entire section on cardiovascular for health, heart health, blood, everything. So, like, don't be silly. I highly encourage you, it is on sale right now, to get this and have it in your home. Okay? It's smart. So I am going to encourage people to take the healthy route. Listen, it's hard. You can ask me anything you want to in the comments. And I want you to know there is a huge community of people out here that are going through it too. And so do not feel alone. All right? It is brutal. It is horrendous. You survived it. You're going to be here for your kids and your spouse or your partner or your family or your friends or yourself. You have a choice to make right now. Are you going to succumb and be a victim, or are you going to say, fuck this and rise up? Because there are so many resources for you right now. And yes, it's going to be a hard journey. I'm not going to tell you it's easy, because I'd be lying through my teeth. It was miserable trying to get to where I am right now. But I did get here, and it took a long ass time. So you're going to have to choose to rewrite your story. You're going to choose to unlearn all the shit in your past and past versions of you that didn't serve you, that didn't bring you to your highest self and your strongest self. You're going to relearn how to come back as a badass motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? And you need to take on that whole persona. And so just start small. Start researching people's wins. Start researching people's stories. Ask me questions, because I am an open, transparent book. I'll tell you what I did wrong. I'll tell you vulnerable, embarrassing shit that I did. I'll tell you the wins, and I'll tell you how I did it. And I think that's the only way that we get through these things. And I sure as shit wish I'd had that when I was going through it, because I got so deeply dark that I thought that actually not being here after surviving that was going to be the easiest thing for me. And that was absolutely not the right thought, and absolutely not the right thing. And so I'm just here to let you know that you can do this, and you can get through it, and you can live a totally normal life. Choices. Make a decision right fucking now. I got you. Ask me anything. I love you.